Hi, folks. Again, welcome. My name is Hannah Bendixson. I am the LibraryNow Program Assistant here at the Milwaukee Public Library, Education and Outreach Services. I am joined by my lovely colleague, Victoria Sanchez, who will be answering questions as they come up in the chat. So thank you so much for kicking off your new year with us. We've already hinted at our theme. Our theme is New Year, New LibraryNow Resources. We are so thrilled to share that as of yesterday, our ABC-CLIO American Mosaic series is posted on the LibraryNow homepage. So you are truly the first audience, the first folks that are hearing of that. So very exciting, and we're thrilled to dive in with you. So as is customary, when we have our monthly virtual LibraryNow drop-in, we focus on a cool tool, and then we always want to make sure to leave time for Q&A, whether you have questions about the American Mosaic series or you have questions about LibraryNow Access, troubleshooting, you have ideas as to content that you would like to see represented on LibraryNow, which we hope will strike home today that we are adding new content all the time, and we truly love to hear from you. But without further ado, we're going to dive in and talk about these three amazing databases. So ABC-CLIO is broken down into African American Experience, American Indian Experience, and Latino American Experience. They are soon to be joined by a fourth database, the Asian American Experience, which will all be available via the same button, the same process of access via LibraryNow. So these resources between them have thousands upon thousands of primary and secondary resources for your middle school and high school students to access, and for you as educators to find some really exciting activities, curricula, and lesson planning resources to supplement the many ways that you already enrich your students' lives and the classroom experience. So since it is a new year and we're all kind of getting back accustomed to being in the swing of things and getting back in the rhythm of things after the holidays, let's do a quick refresher. So LibraryNow is an easy to use website for students and educators to access resources that benefit you and your students academically and recreationally. So the library has had hundreds upon hundreds of digital resources for a long time that any individual with a physical library card could access. But simultaneously, we wanted to begin partnering with various K-12 institutions and networks in Milwaukee to ensure that students, whether or not they'd ever set foot in a physical branch location or had that physical library card, could still access the amazing digital resources. So when we designed LibraryNow, we certainly thought about access and equity in turn. So access, first and foremost, is a user-friendly homepage. So LibraryNow is a curated kind of best hit list of the resources that, from feedback and our experience and user data, we know are the best fit for your students' lives as they advance through their K-12 experience. And if you work at a LibraryNow partner school, we have over 78,000 and counting students that have access to LibraryNow. Your students' LibraryNow access, once they are enrolled in your school, will follow them from K to 12th grade. So they will have access until their graduation year. So this is something that has the ability to continue to build upon itself and gain momentum for your students, because they're not just learning it for the sake of one class or 1 year or one semester. And they're not just utilizing LibraryNow Monday through Friday or fall semester and spring semester. They are utilizing LibraryNow in the evenings, over the weekends, on their winter breaks and summer breaks, as growing adults and lifelong learners and readers. We certainly hope that they will walk into one of our branch locations one day and upgrade and get a physical card and then join us for programming and the many other invitations that we are extending to young people and to adults. But we really want LibraryNow to be that user-friendly experience that students can have immediate access to and can feel empowered in. So first and foremost, it is a website that we have designed with students and educators in mind, that they have access to through our LibraryNow partner schools. And next step, the access and equity piece, is how students go about navigating LibraryNow and logging into LibraryNow. So we also wanted to create logins automatically for students that students already have muscle memory in. So if you are one of our MPS schools and your students have S numbers, they are going to automatically have their S numbers set as their LibraryNow username at the time that they enroll in your school. And we are working with your data people and your leaders to every single year upload new student data, the data that we need to create these login credentials as students enroll in your school. And again, they will follow students through to 12th grade. If you are one of our other LibraryNow partners, you may have a similar S number that we have already worked with you and your leaders to set up an alternative convention. But again, we really want your students to already have muscle memory in this area, and we want to remove ourselves as gatekeepers at the library and to remove you as gatekeepers, as educators. So you can tell your students that they have a username and PIN already set for them. Their username is going to be their 6-digit student ID minus the S, and their PIN is going to be their 4-digit birth year, for instance, 2023. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to get used to saying that one. So 6-digit student ID number minus the S, 4-digit birth year, and then Victoria can post in the chat the login conventions for our other LibraryNow partners, or you are always welcome to email us if you'd like a refresher as to what your students' login conventions are. But know again that we really want students to be empowered to navigate these resources above and beyond what we show them and what we walk them through. So what does educator access look like? So the LibraryNow team utilizes a train the trainer model, and we like to do professional developments, development sessions, both when we initially make the partnership with your school or your network. And we certainly love to do annual refresher trainings as you have new staff and whatnot. And during those refresher trainings and initial train the trainer sessions, we walk through the process of signing up your faculty and staff for a virtual teacher card. These do need to be renewed annually. It's free for you to do so. LibraryNow Access is free and available to you and your students 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's never going to be a paywall that you're hitting when you sign up for this card or your students are logging in. But there are a few additional steps that you as educators have to take. So we are happy to go over that in the Q&A portion, or you are always welcome to email us at librarynow@milwaukee.gov, and we'll find a time to either call or we'll email back and forth or find a time to screen share and walk you through what that looks like. Also worth getting a quick blurb in that when we initially designed LibraryNow, we were thinking about getting resources to students, to young people as quickly as possible. So we designed the kids and the teens tab first, so that students could have that muscle memory and that familiarity with navigating the most curated resources for their academic and recreational inflection point of their lives. But then we realized that we wanted educators to have access to the same free resources and additional resources. We wanted you to get a little something too, because you wear not only an educator hat, but a human hat. So there's so much on there that can help you build out your curricula, can give you ideas for activities, student forums you can share with your students, professional development for you. Again, there is so much that you can explore via that page. And we're happy to send you the recording from our first drop-in of this calendar year, which is in November, during which we focused on the educator tab specifically. So if you would like to see kind of drop-in cool tool featuring of what's new on the educator tab, you can certainly reach out to us for that. Very importantly, if you are signing up for a virtual teacher card for the first time today or you're renewing, you will navigate to that button via the educator yard sign. You'll go to MPL Educator Resources and click that red button. So now we're going to talk about our featured cool tool for the day, ABC-CLIO's American Mosaic series. As I mentioned, there are 3 different databases, soon to be 4 as a part of this. You can search all 4 at once, or you can choose the database that is the best fit for your lesson planning or for your students' research project. This exists on both the Teens tab of LibraryNow and the Educator tab of LibraryNow for you to dive into. What I love is that even though each has distinct resources, obviously, and primary and secondary sources that you can browse by database, each database has a similar structure. So first and foremost, in the age of virtual sharing and video posting, each has a how to use this database video. You can hear from the ABC-CLIO team as to what they have by way of pointers for helping you and your students maximize their time. Each also has an academic success corner. And I think this is a really exciting and in fact critical pairing with the primary and secondary sources featured on these databases. And the reason for that is as your students navigate these resources, it's so important to drive home that what they are doing is developing critical thinking experience and learning about what information literacy is and misinformation and what is a reliable source. What is a primary source versus a secondary source? How do you contextualize these sources? So in an effort for students to have equitable access, not just to materials, but to the tools that allow them to understand those materials. There are tons of videos under these sections, and you can send your students here. You can show the students the clips so that they can understand the difference between evaluating and analyzing or summarizing, and they can understand your assignments better, and they can understand better the world of research that is unfolding to them and that we hope appeals to them. So before we stop the tell part and navigate to the show part and go to LibraryNow.org together, it's worth mentioning that LibraryNow as a kind of landing page functions like a Roku box. So just as, you have a Roku, but you also have individual subscriptions to Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu, that is how a lot of the LibraryNow databases work. So as long as you are starting on the LibraryNow homepage, that is what is going to ensure that every single LibraryNow resource is free and available 24/7 to you and your students. But there could be an additional authentication depending on the resource. A perfect example being the American Mosaic databases. So you will navigate to LibraryNow, you'll select ABC-CLIO American Mosaic, and then you will land at this first screenshot, the upper half of this slide. And while we are so well trained to immediately go to the username and password, I want to draw your attention to the section that you will click instead, which is that line for public library access, log in here. And once you click on that, it will take you to this barcode login, and you will input your virtual teacher ID. Your students will input their LibraryNow username, which will most likely be their 6-digit S number. So keep that in mind. Don't go for that initial username and password. Click public library access and then input the barcode. And this will be the same process whether you are at the library, at your student is at home, you're at school, you name it. All right, so I am going to toggle over, and if you are new to the world of LibraryNow, you are going to get your first look. So first step, pretty easy, www.librarynow.org. We hope it's easy to remember. It's when you want your library, you get it now. And we have created 3 different tabs by age. So we've got kids, teens, and educators. Really briefly, since we were talking about it, I'm going to navigate to educators. You can see that as advertised, we have MPL educator resources, and here's where you sign up for that virtual teacher card. But we're always happy to help or send you screenshot instructions of that, as there's one step that's not quite intuitive. So we're always here to help. Quick plug here that we have a register for upcoming trainings button. So if your New Year's resolution is attend 1 LibraryNow training a month, which we would absolutely love, you can find all of our upcoming drop-ins here. So we offer these once a month virtually through the end of the school year. So our last one will be in May, and we would love to see you again. And we encourage you, as always, to come back and explore on your own, find the resources that are the best fit for your classroom and for you as educators and humans. Few notes about the user experience before we dive in. You'll see that a lot of what was represented on the educator tab is similar to the user experience on the teen and kid tab. We've created bins for ease of your navigation, so you at least have a starting point. And then we've put little eyes, little elevator pitches per resource for you to have ease of quizzing yourself as to what the LibraryNow resources are or refreshing your memory. So here is ABC-CLIO, and you are able to click either of these. It doesn't matter. As we continue to subscribe to more resources offered by this vendor, you'll see more databases linked there, but either one of those will suffice. I want to briefly draw your attention to the educator support site feature, this button right here. So unfortunately, at this point in time, we are not able to give you individual login credentials as educators, so you won't be able to create a profile. However, we are more than happy, because we trust you and you are our collaborators. we're happy to give you our admin login. So this is it right here. Victoria can post it in the chat, or if you're watching the recording of this, you are welcome to shoot us an email at any point in time, and we will share this with you so that you can access professional development, curriculum resources, you name it. So this definitely is teacher territory here. There's tons that you can explore by way of building out your curriculum. You can browse by category, find planning resources, activities, you name it. So if you want those login credentials, that will be sent by us. Just don't change any of our admin settings, but we trust you, and we hope that will be a great resource for you. This is what you can certainly also use as an educator to pull primary and secondary sources and articles and whatnot. But then this is also what your students will see. So as I mentioned, each of the databases has this how to use the database. It also has this academic success corner. So if you are teaching your students about what information literacy is, you can show them this video about confirmation bias or misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. There are worksheets. We could talk about what is knowing the context, knowing the purpose, what is critical thinking. There is also a feature that you can certainly use, and depending on if your students have a personal email they can use, it is a Ask a Librarian. I love it because I love new vocabulary words. This is an email Q&A feature, so you can email questions about certain resources, or if you think that there is a resource that is absent here that you want to have represented. A lot of these resources are contemporary, but maybe you're curious, do you have any resources that you're queuing up on blank? You can interface with an ABC-CLIO librarian, which is pretty cool. What's also a great way of teasing the many different offerings of the American Experience is by going to the advanced search. As you can see that they not only have general resources if you are setting the stage for your students, but they've got media, everything from audio, video for our visual learners and auditory learners, to letters, cultural documents, speeches, quotes. Over here, more activities and topic centers. You can search by time periods, which may align with lesson planning that you're already doing, or you could always encourage students to find a category that's of most interest to them for a research paper or individual personal research. If I navigate to switch database and I navigate to the American Indian Experience, for instance, there are additional features that allow for searching by region, by state, or by tribe. So each of them has kind of their own additional features that help you to really hit your niche and encourage students to find a lot of resources all at once by geography, by point in time, what have you. All right, so I'm going to navigate back to our presentation here, and to start to end our time, though we have the Q&A left, by saying that we are tip of the iceberg people. Our time together, certainly for these short drop-ins, always seems too short. So we know, again, that you know your students and your communities really well, and we ask you to spread the word for us on LibraryNow, and the only way that we can do that is by offering to continue to support you, to give you ideas, to provide clarification, to hear your questions and thoughts. So please do continue to explore the resources that we have curated for you and your students on librarynow.org. Know that we have everything from free tutoring available in English and Spanish through BrainFuse. We've got movies, music, we've got Mango and Pronunciator as language learning apps, whether you're an ESL instructor or whether your student wants additional support as they are enrolled in their Spanish or French or class, whatever it may be, and so much more. So we are really about continuing to cultivate relationships with you and continuing to introduce a new part of the roadmap of LibraryNow month to month and upon request. So thank you so much for joining us for the ABC-CLIO American Mosaic, the Latino American Experience, American Indian Experience, and African American Experience. We'll be adding the Asian American Experience soon for your browsing purposes, and we are so thrilled to hear if there are any questions or comments. Thank you so much, folks, and hope your 2023 is off to a great start.